Good evening, grave robbers, and welcome back to the television graveyard. We are your TV necromancers, Laura Prince and Noah Houlihan. We've come here tonight to examine the spirits of past television shows, to find out which ones could be resurrected, should be resurrected, and which ones should just stay doomed. This is a podcast in which we'll analyze the history, the hype of and the aftermath of shows that ran only one season, only one episode, or 6 seasons and a 7th!
Woo!
This is our season 6 post-mortem, and with me as always is TV's Noah Houlihan.
Roni!
Oh gosh.
Yeah, so if this is your first post-mortem, this is the official end of season 6 of Stay Doomed.
Yes.
And this is where we look back at all of our past episodes, kind of discuss the show as a whole, like our podcast, rather than discussing the show themselves.
Yes.
And look towards the future. This was a fun little tradition we started way back in season 1, and that was back when we thought we weren't going to do any more of this show.
That's why it was the post-mortem, because we had only planned to run one season, and I'm very glad we did not.
Yes, there was a brief time where we thought every year we would do a different podcast about a different topic, but we stuck with Stay Doomed, and we are happy with that.
Yes, we had a number of different ideas. I remember one that I really liked is Will It Christmas?
Will It Christmas was a fun idea.
Which was debating movies other than Die Hard about Christmas movies.
Yes. I liked Batman-ish, where we watched or read various Batman properties and ranked them on how Batman they were.
Will It Batman?
Will It Batman?
And both of them we're going to do Batman Noel.
Yes, we just really liked Batman Noel, which is a great comic. You should read it. In any case, we are going to go through what happened in the past season, episode by episode, and just give you a couple thoughts. And this is a great way to start because we knocked off 2 of our biggest ones we wanted to do early in season 6, and It all started with "You're in the Picture."
Yes, because I'm looking through this, and we were trying to remember exactly when the strike. So season 6 is not the strike season.
It is not the strike season.
Season 5 is the strike season, so this is the return to form.
Yes. If you don't remember, there was a time where the Screen Actors Guild, or the Writing Guild, was on strike. And discussing their work was considered crossing the picket line.
Yes.
So we couldn't do Stay Doomed. So we did a spin-off called Tune Out.
Yes.
Where we would talk about something else. So this is us trying to kind of get back into the swing of things of how Stay Doomed worked.
It was really difficult because we lost a ton of momentum with the strike.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, this is the return of Stay Doomed?
Yes.
Because we were still doing Tune Out up until the hiatus.
Yes.
So
we were doing things like the worst decisions in movie history.
Yeah. We were talking about the Rolling Stones list.
Yeah, the fall lineup and the strike. We were really trying to create something out of nothing.
So this would have been the first episode of Stay Doomed since July 21st.
Yes. So it shows because we have a heart. This episode is great.
This is a great episode of Stay Doomed. Yes.
But we had gone to the Paley Center and watched this so long ago when this went up because we were not sure about the ethics of this particular episode, whether we could do it or not,
right,
as part of the strike season. So we sat on our notes for this for a very long time.
Yes. I believe, if I remember correctly, because we went to the Paley Center to watch this.
In August.
And I believe in the interim, the footage ends up on YouTube.
Yes, which has happened to us a couple times now.
So I was very frustrated that, we're super special episode with this, kind of lost media because you can only see it at the Paley Center. No.
There it is.
There it is on YouTube. There's a link to it in the episode.
It's only the Paleo Center. Wait, no, it's on YouTube. But yeah, I do love this episode. It's such a cool television curio, and I do love the ones that are canceled after one episode. And this is the first one where it's canceled after one episode, and you get to see the fallout.
Yeah.
For what the show is, this is a textbook. Great Stay Doomed.
So if you don't know, because I just want to bring this up because since then we've gotten really into Dropout.
Yes.
You're in the Picture seems like a Dropout show.
Yes, and I think with modern sensibilities and the way meta humor would work now, I think you can do a really funny version of You're in the Picture as a Game Changer episode.
As a Game Changer, yeah. But yeah, this is a great episode. I love that we finally got to do this.
Yes.
And we crossed a big legendary one off the list, and we followed that up with another legendary one.
Australia's Naughtiest Home Videos, which was cancelled during its only airing.
Yes.
Which, again, these both actually connect to Turn On in their way. Because Turn On was also Turn On was our other Paley Center show.
Yes.
And Turn On was also canceled while it was airing.
Yes.
So I think that's interesting connection between
Turn On has also made its way to YouTube.
Also, yes. I think it's funny. I don't remember a ton about this special, to be entirely fair.
I mean, it's an America's Funniest Home Videos pastiche. There wasn't a lot to say. We just kind of spent a lot of time talking about the ethics of it.
Yes.
Because there was a lot of nudity in it. And it was like, are these people okay with being naked on television? And
I do have a note. Bob Saget would have loved this.
Oh, yeah, Bob Saget absolutely would have loved this.
We actually talked about how is this on YouTube a bit as well.
There's some straight up nudity in this, which is interesting. But this is this leads up to a Lost episode. Mm-hmm. Because there was an episode we were planning on doing that we ended up not doing. Because it says here...
Back to the Future, the animated series, Dickens of a Christmas.
Which I don't even remember planning.
We did, because I had bought you the DVD.
Oh, yes.
We still have it.
We were going to do it as kind of like a special episode.
It was going to be a Christmas special. And then we both get extremely ill over the holidays.
Because what I end up putting up is an old podcast I was on called the Dreamers Podcast that I did with my buddy Super Joe Pardo. I just want to briefly talk about this.
Sure.
Because we talk about how everything is so cataloged and like remembered now that there's not as much lost media.
Right.
There is when it comes to podcasts.
Yes.
Because I was on so many podcasts. I was on Bob and Dave Are Terrible People. I was on Super Crappy Fun Time. I was on The Panic Hour. These are all podcasts that I've done that are gone. And nobody thought to, like, preserve these. In terms of some of them, I think they're glad that they're gone. But it's important to me that, like, I still have a few of these weird podcasts that I did. And I went through and I tried to download a couple of them. I do have some other ones I could put up later in the event that they also vanish. But this is a really cool podcast that I did because it's less like me doing a comedy thing and we're just kind of like talking about art. So I really like that I have this. And shout outs to Super Joe Pardo, who I think is doing a different podcast now.
That's really fun. Like, I love being able to kind of like connect with that moment in your past.
Yeah.
So we come back with Battletoads, which was another one that had been on the list for a very long time.
Yes, indeed. I really liked Battletoads. Battletoads, I farmed a couple shorts out of, because this is also like where I start to try to do the shorts more aggressively.
Yes.
They're a little bit less work related or work heavy as my previous shorts. Like, the previous shorts, like, I would have things sliding in and out of, like, screen and stuff like that. This is more of just, like, here's a bit of the podcast.
Yeah.
But I loved Battletoads. Very interesting show that, again, on the radar for a while. And, like, we just kept finding, like, little weird things about it.
Yeah.
Like, that was a fun little rabbit hole. There was the whole thing that we found that they were using Havan and Nagila for no reason.
Yes.
Like, there's a lot of interesting things about Battletoads.
I'm just pulling it up because I have, and I intentionally update it very seldom. It is the original proof of concept Google Sheet I made for this show.
Right.
Battletoads was on it.
Yeah, at the end of this, we should go through that list and just see what we have and have not done.
Absolutely.
Next is a great gem, and that's In the Lion's Den.
Yeah, this one was fun.
Like, I just remember, like, I really enjoyed this, and it was not at all what I expected it to be, but it was about making a puppet show. This was, like, in tandem with Puppet Man, which we had done a little while ago. So we
right
kept
down to,
making...
I believe it aired in the same...
This
programming block.
The fun house thing?
Yeah, the summer fun house block.
Yes.
It had a lot of, like, repeated bits from Puppet Man, which I felt like was a very odd thing. This leaned in considerably less to the family aspect. This felt more like a sitcom for adults more than Puppet Man did.
Yeah.
Puppet Man felt like a family show. In the Lion's Den felt like it was more aimed at adults. Like a proto-Death to Smoochie.
Yes, that is a good way.
A proto-network Death to Smoochie. And it was notable because it also aired 2 months after Puppet Man.
Yeah, they were actually pretty close.
It would be like if we did this show and then 2 months later did Puppet Man.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a cool one. And this is also where we start feeling like the heat, because episode 200's coming up.
Yes.
And we had actually started watching The Cape.
Yes.
And The Cape was huge. It was like a really big project to take on.
Yes.
But awesome. I really loved The Cape. And unfortunately, we end up not doing The Cape.
No, it just doesn't happen.
We run very low on time. It looks like...
We hit MagFest and then we get sick again. We spent a lot of last winter quite sick.
Because it appears that, like, late, I put up a slash fiction from, like, years ago that had never been free. And, like, I will also say, I kind of put it up poorly.
Yeah.
In that, like, the description of it actually says, we're hyped for the 100th episode of the Plus Two Comedy Podcast. So we rushed to get some sort of content out. And then we do the road to Plus Two Comedy, or to the road to episode 200, to kind of try to buy us some more time.
Which effectively was a second post-mortem. Like a more wide post-mortem.
Yeah.
But it's a lot like this episode, and we had just done the season 5 post-mortem.
Yeah.
So it's very clear that, like, this is where you start to see we struggled a little bit.
There was a huge struggle in January.
We do an on the road.
Then we do an on the road with MagFest because we're going to MagFest. Then we get sick again.
Yeah, we were both ill for a lot of the winter.
Yeah. January was not kind to us. And
then you do The Exorcist Believer alone as 201.
Yeah, because we were saving episode 200. We ended up in Razzie Month. Laura doesn't really watch horror movies.
I also believe I was unable to speak.
I believe you had no voice at the time. So I kind of, like, in a panic, do Exorcist Believer.
Yes.
So not only are you sick and I don't have you to lean on, but I have to watch this terrible movie.
It was, yeah, I feel badly when I don't make an episode because, like, I hate not making an episode. Mm-hmm. And I don't make this is easily the season I make the fewest.
Yes.
And that's including the season where you do Blood Drive entirely without me.
Yeah. Well, that turned into a 5-parter.
That was also by popular demand, and I'm not a big gore fan.
Yeah. I still wish you could watch it. It's so good. It's so good.
The lost episode of Turn On.
Yeah, which we make episode 200 because we had time to do that.
Yes.
And we were also kind of afraid that this was going to get ripped off of YouTube.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was the lost, unaired episode of Turn On that even the Paley Center didn't have. How this came to be, very confusing. So we were like, let's rush and do this. And like, it makes sense as episode 200. So we launched this as episode 200.
Yeah, and it's kind of a nice, like, feel. Mm-hmm. To be able to kind of connect with that in a way that feels organic.
Yeah.
So then we do the Meg 2, because now we are
now
solidly
it's
in Razzie month.
Yeah.
And we do the Meg 2.
Meg
this was
2.
a fun one.
Oh yeah, farmed a lot of shorts out of the Meg 2 as well.
So we did have fun with Meg. We
did not need to see the Meg to understand
Yeah,
the
don't
events.
worry about that, friends. You don't need to watch the Meg to understand the Meg 2. Blood and Honey, which I didn't watch.
Yes, and again, I'm glad you didn't watch that one, because that one was just a waste. I believe it wins the Razzie. And it should, because it's bad. It's really bad.
It does. So, the next one is, we decided it would be funny to watch a show we thought was going to suck. Mm-hmm. And see if it got a season 2.
Yeah, this was a new concept we were playing with, just because we wanted to try to do some, like, more relevant stuff, because, like, we're always pulling stuff from, like, the 80s and 90s that it's hard to, like, really get traction. So we want to cover something more, like, current eventy to see if that would attract any fans. No. No, it didn't. And we also had to sit through Deal or No Deal Island.
It did, in fact, spoiler, it got a second season.
Did it?
Yes, it is airing a second season. The cast has been announced, but the show has not aired its second season yet.
Because I remember what we said was...
They're doing that Traders-y, it's a mix of reality show competitors and...
Well, that's just how reality shows work now. It's just like, we already have these stars. Let's just keep using those that are bankable.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to create new stars. The landscape of reality TV is very different now.
That's true.
But what I believe we say is, this is a really terrible show that will get a second season.
Yes.
And it actually did so poorly that a lot of people were like, it's getting canceled. No one cares about this. So I do feel a little justified knowing that it's getting a second season. That being said, it's a dumb show that does not work.
Yeah. The next episode is Game Theory.
Yes, this is where I was sad that we were losing Matt Pat. So we did like a special episode about the career of Matt Pat. Just mostly because of the running joke of Matt Pat in this podcast.
Yes, because I notoriously disliked the character of Matt Pat.
Mm-hmm. The truth be told, Matt Pat actually retired, like, completely only, like, a month and a half ago. Because he was still doing GT Live. And it was, again, pretty emotional.
Yeah.
But, hi, Matt Pat. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, like, I've never liked him more than as he was leaving. Because I think the more we saw the person behind the character, I never disliked the person. Mm-hmm. And when we got those glimpses behind and saw the person, I was like, oh, I like the person. I would listen to the person all day. I I loathed the character.
Yes. And that leads into...
But I haven't made a joke about him since.
That is true. That leads us into our most hated concept. And that's the idea of Stay Doomed Live. Once again, you were unable to record. And I came up with the concept to watch a pilot live on Twitch and then immediately do the podcast about it.
I don't know why I couldn't record this one.
I don't remember what was happening in March either. This happens like a few times, though.
Yeah.
And I thought it would just bring like an interesting concept to things. But like, there's always a problem with just like airing a pilot and sitting there quietly on Twitch. So I also had to like kind of talk over the thing we were watching. And because I then reacted to it immediately, I didn't have research.
No.
So when I did Psycho Ferret, which is a Nickelodeon pilot, I say some things that are just like incorrect, and then I have to like go back and fix it in post. Like, this episode is legitimately a mess. And I find it interesting because I can see analytics of like how many people watch, like how many people like turned it on, and also when they turn it off.
Oh.
And I thought like, okay, they're going to find out Laura's not here and they're going to tune out. That's fine. It's worse than that. These do the worst, like watch-wise, on like YouTube. And my face is, these are the only episodes where my face is in the thumbnail. So it seems like if they actually see my face, people are like, I'm not watching this.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
We'll get more into that later. But Psycho Ferret, interesting cartoon. Not a lot special about it. You didn't miss much. There's one episode in here I really wish that we could have done as a full episode. Psycho Ferret, not it.
Blit Happened. Blit Happens feels like a very classic Stay Doomed episode.
Yes, it does.
Like, we hate it. It feels... But we hate it and have eloquent reasons why we hate it.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
We hate it. We also see why it was made. We also see all the mistakes that are being made along the way. Yeah, this is a quintessential, like, why a pilot fails episode.
Yeah, really, April, we have kind of a good run in April.
Yeah, April has some really nice stuff.
Because we have that, and then it goes right into Super Nerds.
Yeah, Super Nerds, which was, like, something that was so under the radar. Like, I had never heard of Super Nerds, and then I was like, oh, these are all my favorite people. And it's a nerdy thing. Oh, it's terrible.
It was very bad. It was very interesting to see that, like, nerd culture and how nerd culture has kind of, you know, changed and evolved, and how it's, you know, incredibly different in how it's currently being played versus how it was played prior.
Yeah, this might be one of the worst things that we watched that didn't exist in Razzie Month.
Yes, I think it's a good episode for us, but I don't think it's necessarily a great.
Yeah. Then we have a very special episode. It's WrestleMania week.
This one was fun.
Yeah, WrestleMania week. WrestleMania feels like it was so long ago.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that was this calendar year.
But, like, an absolute insane week of just travel and, like, doing as much content as possible. Between the two of us, we do 11 shows.
Yes.
Like, including, like, other podcasts and, like, comedy. And it's an insane week that, like, I can't believe we survived.
And they don't all overlap.
Yeah, we split up. We come back together. It's, WrestleMania. But, like...
So much fun, though.
It also shows, like, you and I are currently gaining a lot of success outside of Stay Doomed.
Yes.
Which is one of the reasons Stay Doomed is becoming more and more difficult.
Yes.
In that our talents are required elsewhere. And the watch and review format, like, we're making roughly an hour podcast, sometimes more, sometimes less. But, usually an hour of content comes out once a week.
Yes.
That requires an hour of recording, over an hour of editing. Like, how long the length of the episode is, times 1.5.
Yeah.
Because I have to pull the clips and edit out the ums and erms, which I know I miss a lot, and then I listen back to them later, and I'm like, ugh, that should be cut. Then there's the whole watching aspect of it.
Which is very... sometimes that's where I feel like I get crushed under the wheel of Stay Doomed.
Yeah.
Because especially with how we watch content, I am not just sitting on the couch, like, watching something. I am taking copious notes.
Yeah, there's a lot of rewinding and rewatching stuff and things like that. So it's... as we become more successful, Stay Doomed becomes more difficult. But we're trying. I know there was a few episodes, not this season, but in the past, where we tried to watch them at 1.5 speed, and you were like, "This is impossible."
Because it was impossible for me to take notes.
Yeah.
And I think I got, like, very overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Like...
oh, I don't think we kept it on for more than a minute.
I was going to say, I think
like, this isn't happening.
I get very overwhelmed. I want to say, like, 90 seconds in.
Yeah. You're like, absolutely not. And then... this is a classic Stay Doomed. Laura gets mad at Noah for making her watch this episode.
Yeah.
Welcome to Eltingville. A show I was very excited for. And I was like, this is a good version of Super Nerds. They do it right. And then I watched it. I was like, nope. I remembered this incorrectly.
It's interesting because when I was doing the research for this episode, I come around on the concept a lot. When I realized that everyone is supposed to be massively unlikable.
Yeah.
And that's sort of like where the books go with it. Mm-hmm. I came around on the concept a lot more than some of the concepts we've had.
Yeah. I think it's an interesting pilot, but I understand why you did not enjoy it. It's very hard for something from Adult Swim to land with both of us. I think it's just... Lucy, Daughter of the Devil.
Which I did adore.
Which I adore. I've considered putting that on again a few times.
The next week is Norman's Corner.
This was a weird one.
This was a really hard one to do an episode about.
Yeah.
Because I felt like nothing happened enough to talk about.
I was waiting for the plot to start the whole time. And then, right when it develops a bit of a plot, it ends. What a terrible one. Here's a little inside baseball for you. The way that these work on YouTube is, I usually make a thumbnail, and I stick it in the Stay Doomed, like, frame. So it'll say Stay Doomed, and then on the television is like a logo that tells you what the episode is. The Facebook algorithm, not the Facebook algorithm, the YouTube algorithm tries to make thumbnails with faces.
Huh.
So often, I will have 98% of the podcast will just be a still frame of the TV with the logo that I want to be the thumbnail. And then YouTube will, instead of that, give me 3 random pictures of faces on the TV that says Stay Doomed, and it doesn't say the name of the episode. And I have to go back and fix it. I think Norman's Corner is the only one I've never gone back to fix. So instead of it saying Norman's Corner, it is a shot of, what's the guy's name?
Gilbert Gottfried?
Yeah, it's Gilbert Gottfried's claymation face.
That's kind of fun.
So it's a very confusing thumbnail.
Yeah, this one it was a hard one to follow because it didn't feel It felt so disjointed.
Yeah, it's one of the times where I'm just like, this isn't a show.
Yeah, it doesn't land.
Yeah.
The next one is Buffy the Animated Series.
Yes, this is a Stay Doomed live that I did because the cartoon is like 4 minutes.
Yes.
I have some nice things to say. This is another one where, like, I'll say something and then quickly do a little bit of research and then have to retract.
Yeah.
It's like, clearly this is an alternate universe. No, this is supposed to be during season 2. Like, lots of problems like that. But I'm not sure exactly what happened here, because I believe after Norman's Corner we had planned on doing Scorch, and we had already started watching Scorch.
Yes.
But we were unable to record for some reason. It's a very common occurrence where...
This is like one of my busier seasons at work.
Yes.
And I'm wondering if like that was a huge factor.
And it also seems like something is awry here in that we upload on Wednesdays, and both Norman's Quarter and Buffy the Animated Series goes up on a Thursday. So it's very possible that what ends up happening is we plan on doing an episode, we do all the watching, and then the window we had to record closes.
Yes.
And it's just like, well, something's got to go up.
Yeah. Admittedly, we are perpetually nowadays in the situation of like, we have a window to record.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, we're recording this day. It's, we are recording this day between 1:30 and 3 because we have something at 3:30.
Yeah. Here's another thing that it's a little inside for you guys. I write all the copy for the show, despite the fact that it's written in third person. And I can feel my franticness for Buffy the Animated Series as the copy says, join an annoyed Noah alone in the television graveyard as he frantically digs up Buffy the Animated Series. That makes it seem like not only... This might have been one of the episodes we lost.
We did have a few issues with technical stuff.
Yeah. Oh, you know what we completely are forgetting is we lose power at some point during this.
That actually
hasn't happened yet, but like that's another just issue we dealt with this year.
That's actually a good thing to remind ourselves.
Yeah.
Because I think when we get toward the end of this, I'm going to be really hard on particularly myself about this season. Realizing that this year had a lot of ups and downs is going to be very important for me to remember.
Yeah, the fact that it says an annoyed Noah makes me pretty sure that this is the recording we lost. And we had to re-record Scorch.
I forgot we had to re-record Scorch.
I think that happens more than once. I think Scorch is one of them.
Yeah, because we lose a couple of episodes. And again, with recording being so tight this season... It's very difficult.
Yeah. Because, again, we aren't able to do Scorch, and I do Strictly for Laughs, which is the first comedy panel show. It is like the original Tough Crowd with Colin Quinn, politically incorrect show.
Yeah.
This is the one that, like, I feel like this could have been a great episode if I had done this with you.
Yeah.
Because, one, we could have had a great discussion of, like, comedy and how it ages and, like, does it still work? There's also, like, a lot of weirdness in that, like, one of the panel... Like, it switches panels throughout the show.
Okay.
So it's not the same panel the whole time. And, like, the comedians, because it's an older show, are people like the Three Stooges.
Oh, wild.
Which is so weird to see them being like, you know what I think? It's like, no, I don't know. You don't think. You get hit with boards. And there's also a lot of, like, I have no idea who that is. They never say who it is, and I cannot find who that is. So, a research department definitely would have helped that one. That's a show I would redux.
Yeah.
I think out of all of the Stay Doomed live era, because again, it says Noah is live on Twitch in the copy.
Yeah.
This is one that I would like to kind of go back and, like, really evaluate from multiple perspectives. Because I think if you listen to this episode, it's just me over and over again saying, as a comedian.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
The next episode's another one without me. Like, wow, I dipped on, like, months at a time, apparently, this season.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, gang.
Yeah, Puzzlers. Puzzlers is another one that we could do as a full episode. I don't think we need to. Because Puzzlers was, I know, on the list for a while. It was on the Patreon voting ballot for a bit.
Yes.
And Pat Sajak. And it's, Pat Sajak just retired, so it was timely.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sorry, I don't have a lot to say on the ones I wasn't in. I'm like, yep, that happened.
Yeah, understandable.
Again, wow, I'm not in May.
I forget what happened in May. I think there may have been a bit of like, we already did Scorch. I don't want to sit down and record Scorch again.
I know based on the calendar, I had a lot going on in my personal life at this time. Mm-hmm. And I think that might have been a piece of it, is I was not always able to record.
Yeah, Laura was very busy, and, we lost footage, and, like, we never this season really got back into the swing of Stay Doomed.
Yeah.
Because we had stopped doing Stay Doomed for months. And, like, getting back into that, like, click of, like, this is the time we watch something, this is the time we record, was very difficult just because our lives have changed.
Yes.
And, like, our priorities had changed. And, like, finding the time to make this work was very difficult. So, yeah, I do a weird Ninja Turtles 2001 proof of concept, which I don't think that's a thing the two of us have ever done together.
No.
Is a proof of concept. We've done a lot of pilots, but proofs of concept are very interesting to watch because 2001 Ninja Turtles is almost just a commercial.
Huh. And then the next week is a channel update, which I think means I am missing the entire month of May.
Well, because I believe we are...
The channel update is while we are away.
We are away, yes. I remember we had something planned for when we were gone, but we go to Vegas.
Yeah, I know May was also plagued with some tech issues. Mm-hmm. Tech issues. I know in my, like, job, I had a very busy sequence of events, and I think it just kind of combined to... It's the only month that we have not been on hiatus where I've not participated in the podcast.
There's also a big thing here where I'm being pulled in a lot of directions. This is me. I'm doing a lot of wrestling at the time.
Yes.
And there was a lot of, like, the only time we would have had to record, I was doing wrestling.
You're right, because I forgot you used to have the shows that were all day, because we generally record on the weekends. You would have something all day. Yes, because a lot of this is not just like Laura was not available. It was Noah was not available during the time we could record. But Noah was available to do one alone. Yes, because I'm realizing that when you'd have some of these shows that would run an entire day, mm-hmm. we generally would need the other weekend day. If we weren't booked, which we often were, we'd end up needing it for, like, life admin. Yeah. And, like, not to go too, like, details about our life, but when it comes to our shoot jobs, I get home before Laura. Yeah. So I have time alone at home, where Laura is still working / commuting. Yes. So, like, I could use that time to create something. Yes. And that's how we ended up with, like, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And attempting the Stay Doomed Live format. But we go to Vegas, and that's awesome. Yes. And I think you can kind of hear how badly I needed time away from life.
These are popular episodes.
These are fun. I in the back half of season 6, we do a lot of odd episodes. Mm-hmm. It feels closer to original Recipe Stay Doomed than some of the stuff I'm not in, or some of the stuff where we're like clearly flailing. Like, Chris Angel Mindfreak is a fun episode.
It is a fun episode. This is also where I start doing the +2 brand synergy.
Yeah.
Because over on the +2 wrestling channel, I also cover Chris Angel's Mind Freak.
Yes.
And Scott Holiday, my alter ego, tells you to watch Stay Doomed at the end of it. So this is me trying to do some cross promotion, and it kind of works. There's also that's something you don't know.
Okay.
Scott Holiday is a special guest on the Winnie the Pooh episode. Because there's like a wrestling moment in Winnie the Pooh.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, I can't really explain how this works. Let me get an expert in here. Scott Holiday here to talk about professional wrestling and Winnie the Pooh. So this is when I first tried this like weird synergy idea. Because on top of all the Stay Doomed thing, I started a new YouTube channel.
Yes.
Which the Scott show over on +2 Wrestling, I'm much more comfortable just not doing for a week.
Yeah. Because I think that's... There are times where I think we push very hard to get something out. And that feels more obvious this season than any other season.
Yeah.
We do the Chris Angel Mind Freak episode, which was a lot of fun to talk about. And then we do Scorch.
Yeah, it is funny that for episodes upon episodes, it just says,
next
week we're watching Scorch. We finally do it. It finally happens in June on the 19th. We finally do Scorch. And it's fine.
And previously, we start mentioning Scorch and Copy April 25th.
I mean, Scorch was on the list seasons ago.
Yeah.
Because we had found Scorch and we're like, oh, cool, let's do Scorch. And then we found out it wasn't just a pilot, it was 6 episodes. And
yes.
We're like, oh, we don't have 6 episodes time, let's do a pilot. And Scorch got pushed to the back burner quite a few times. But it's finally done. That's another big one we finally got to cross off the list, was Scorch.
Yes. It was fun.
It's fun. There's some fun stuff in it. Not the best puppet show we've watched.
And then the next week is the week where, to quote Parks and Rec, technically we're homeless.
Yeah, this is where it starts?
Yes, because if you look, there's 2 weeks between 216 and 217.
Oh, yeah, so just an episode just doesn't go up.
Yeah, because we're, like, we can't record.
Yeah.
We can't get into our home to get the equipment.
Yeah, because this is where...
we are legally not allowed in our home at this time.
Yeah, it was... what was the word that they used for it?
Fire?
No, like... uninhabitable. Our home was uninhabitable, so we weren't allowed in. And, like, there were certain times of the day that our home had visitation where we could get someone to let us in so we could take the few things that we could have. And then we eventually do Solar Man when we're on a generator. And these episodes took so long because I had to also edit out all of the generator noise.
Yes, and that's all summer.
All summer we deal with this.
We run with, I think until late August, almost every episode you have to do that generator noise. I think Solar Man is a quick one because we were middle of watching Phenomenon when we lost power.
Yes.
And then we wanted to get something out quickly. We were newly back in the apartment.
Yep. And here's the thing. Loved Solar Man. Solar Man, surprise hit. Another one that had been on an old Patreon poll, and I couldn't believe it was a Marvel character. I fell in love with Solar Man so hard that I was demanding that he appear in Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, you were...
I was all on board for Solar Man.
Just all in on Solar Man. And then we do Phenomenon, which is fantastic.
Yes.
It's a great episode for us. You do a lot of as a magician.
Yeah, I do say as a magician a lot here. But we were just trying to milk a little bit more out of Chris Angel here.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that we finally did Phenomenon. Ask yourself this. Is the impossible possible? No! That's what those words mean.
But these were two really fun episodes. It felt... I do find Dead of Summer and Dead of Winter, Stay Doomed episodes, tend to be stronger. Because we have more time... Because Dead of Winter and Dead of Summer do tend to be slower times for other activities that we do.
Yes.
And we actually end up with more time to record than Fall, Spring, and Holiday.
Yep. But you're right. You're absolutely right. We make Phenomenon a two-parter. I want to write a whole book about Phenomenon. It's so interesting. And I want you guys to know, I messaged everyone involved in this show to come and talk to us, and they would not.
Yeah. We haven't had a lot of success getting people to want to speak to us of late.
Yeah, it's been a while since we did an interview, and I
it's not COVID anymore, and people are...
people...
Like, I think we had more success when everybody was stuck in their house.
Yeah.
Then we did Mabel and Max.
Mabel and Max. I think this is the episode that, like, as you said, until next time, stay doomed, we lost power.
We did! We lost power during a recording.
During the episode. And I was like, oh my god, I have to save and make sure we still have this audio.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a wild time.
I usually, when I listen back to episodes, I kind of end up cutting off before the end. Like, when you get to, like, Laura, where can people find us? I'm like, okay, I've done the episode.
Yeah, we know what's happening.
Did we do, like, a successful outro in this episode?
I think you say stay doomed and we lose power. Like,
Is it stay doomed? Oh, for...
I believe that's what happened. There may be...
Do I swear on Mike?
There might be an episode where it ends abruptly and then I record an outro later where I'm like, hey, we lost power in the middle of this. Stay doomed.
I think it's this one.
I think it is this one, yeah.
And then we do Deadpool and... then we do Deadpool and Wolverine, which is one of those rare episodes to me that... It reminds me a little bit of Cats, where we left the theater and we're like, I just want to do an episode about this.
I was like, this is an episode. Because I remember looking at this. This is another important thing. Because of everything that has happened. At this point, we have killed the Patreon.
Yes.
And we killed the Patreon for a couple reasons. One of it is there was a project that I was doing over on the gaming channel called A Decadent Mind that I was streaming exclusively on Patreon.
Yes.
And it died. Like, the website died. And I kind of, like, talked to the gaming patrons and was like, hey, I've been doing these exclusive streams on Patreon for this thing. Should I do it about another thing, or should we just move on? And it seemed like an appropriate time to kill the Patreon. We hadn't done a bonus episode in quite some time.
Yes. Because we were having trouble getting the main episodes out. And it just became... It became very difficult to get.
Yeah. So we killed the Patreon. The Patreon's still up right now, just because there was a few people that were like, I want to continue to support you. Also, this is where I listen to the podcast. So currently the Patreon still exists. You can still listen to every episode of Stay Doomed since we started the Patreon on there. But you don't have to be a member. You can just go and listen there. Which I do notice around this point that the number of downloads through the Podbean statistics goes down because people start listening more on the Patreon, which is fine. But there is a, hey, here's $1 tier.
Yeah. Where
if you want to still support us monetarily, you can. And quite a few people do, and we're very thankful.
That's really nice.
But the Patreon stopped being a thing that we felt comfortable promoting.
Yes, it felt like we were under-delivering in an attempt to deliver at all. Mm-hmm. And that's not what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
It felt gross to be doing
it. It also felt good to start the new Discord, because now we have a bunch of new people that we can talk to about the show.
Yes.
And about anything, basically. And there's a lot of good conversation that's going on there. A lot of people like the Danish Guy Reviews, who was a constant, commenter. Yeah. And was already, kind of always trying to be part of the conversations. No, let's invite everybody in. So I definitely like this format a lot more, and it takes a lot of pressure off of things.
Yes, it surely does. This isn't our main job.
No.
By, a long shot. So, not having this be something that we're as tied to in that way. It was difficult to add that financial element, but not be able to devote the energy that, people were donating money to us, but we were not able to have the freedom that usually the Patreon construct would allow a creator.
Yeah.
Because we still have survival jobs, we still have a lot of other things going on in our lives. So we weren't really able to reciprocate that end.
Yeah.
The way I would have liked to.
There was also this weird kind of feeling when, because the Patreon group was small.
Yes.
And it, I think at the tier where you joined the exclusive Discord, it got up to 8 people at most. But it was fun to kind of go in there and talk and things like that. And then people would leave the Discord and leave the Patreon, and it was kind of this weird they're gone. And the way the community was, it wasn't just us noticing they're missing. It was the other patrons being this person's not here contributing to the conversation anymore. That's a bummer. Yeah. So being able to open it up and be the Discord's free, everybody come in, let's talk about theme parks.
Yeah, and
a lot better.
It feels more inclusive. It feels more like a community. And maybe someday we'll get to another point where it makes sense to do something of that nature.
Yeah.
But we're not at that place right now.
Certainly not. Hey, Laura, Fish Police.
This was one of the most fun episodes to do.
What a gem.
Because this is one of the ones where the banter is really fun.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're just giving each other a lot of guff. We're really leaning into, our dynamic really well here.
It's not a good show. It's not a good show.
Notice I'm not saying anything about Fish Police itself.
Right type of bad.
It was exactly... It's a great Stay Doomed show. Yeah.
Fish with a crutch. A fish with a crutch. It's so funny.
You screaming about fish milk?
Fish milk, yeah. That's another one that I believe got multiple shorts.
Stay Doomed was reviewing a 6-episode show, which was good. But they did it during a thunderstorm. I think this one, we don't lose power. But I think in this one you can hear that we're expecting to lose power any second.
Yeah, there's just thunder in the background. Yeah.
And I think, there's a point where you can hear it in both of our voices that we're are we gonna be able to finish this episode?
Because we're still on the generator at this point, right?
We are.
Yeah. There's a time during the summer where I'm just insane.
Yes.
You can hear my manic energy in Stay Doomed, but that's how I was talking to anybody.
Yes.
I had to stop doing comedy for a while during this time because I was so stressed out that I would get on stage and just scream at people. And then, storm out. This is when I was in a bad place.
Yes.
Because this is also, like, my busy season at work. Like, I remember just being so manic this whole time.
Yeah, because we actually just talked about this last night conversationally. We were watching one of the WWE shows that has the decibel thing down in the corner.
Oh, yeah, because, we were watching a premium live event.
And it showed, like, 90. And I remember bringing a decibel reader into the room in which I sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, like, 65. And this was with nothing else on, no TV in the house, no music, no anything. Just what the ambient sound in our apartment was. And it was at 65 decibels all the time.
Yeah. Just at all times I was home, there was a noise vibrating my brain and turning it into mush.
And, like, that was what we had to sleep through. And I think by August, it is clearly grating on both of us.
Oh, yeah. I was losing my mind. Because we do The Adventures of Super Pup, which was supposed to be The Adventures of Superboy. And then we couldn't find that.
But Adventures of Super Pup
stumbled upon Super Pup.
So much better. You and I were like, this is so much better. And
we had not done a talking dog in so long. And man, does our audience love a good talking dog. We pulled this off on archive.org, which we don't get a lot of our shows off of Archive. And I feel like maybe we should be expanding our search to Archive more often.
Yeah.
What a great, insane show from 1958.
So much fun.
Which I incorrectly say is the earliest show that we've ever done.
Yeah.
But the earliest show is Let's Join Joni, which is 1950.
Yes.
So.
Which I think I correct you on a mic.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
Sorry.
Then we have another solo episode.
This is when things are getting really bad. Because I think this is starting to be, like, there's issues with the power outage situation.
Yeah, there's, like, talks of, like, moving.
Yeah.
And I end up doing Chunk It Being Alone, which is a weird 2016 pilot. I think this is one that, like, again, having you there would have been really good for it. Because a lot of, like, really weird stuff happens in this show.
Yeah.
It's Skylar White is in it. And the kid who plays Chunk is Derek Zoolander's son in Zoolander 2.
Oh,
so it's like, Stay Tuned alumni is in this. Yeah, this is a really weird episode. This would have been fun had it been a correctly done episode rather than a Stay Tuned live.
And one where we were a little more well.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, also, I'm peak insane.
Because, like, we are... Toward the end of August, like, things are really starting to feel unwell.
That being said, I have nothing but good feelings towards Dick Tracy. I don't know if things are better yet.
I think this is when everything is back to normal.
Yeah. I'm just a happier individual when we do Dick Tracy.
Yeah, I looked at, because I was just checking something. Things are back to normal at Dick Tracy.
Yeah. Love Dick Tracy. What a cool show.
We had a lot of fun with this one. This one, again, feels like a good Stay Doomed.
Yeah, if I can clear the pipes real quick. Dick Tracy. He's a good cop. This is a peak Stay Doomed episode, is Dick Tracy, where they're trying to feed people to piranhas, but they don't have the money, so they're just in a fish tank. Love Dick Tracy.
Yeah, like, it's a very fun episode for us. I really liked it.
Yeah.
Really liked that one. I love a good IP reference, because there's a lot of research to be done on IP references.
Yeah.
Like, there's just a lot. We're able to do a lot of fun research on Dick Tracy.
Yeah.
And I hadn't had a good research episode in a minute.
Yeah, and I had also rewatched the Dick Tracy movie for that. Cool movie.
Then we have a 2-part on the 90s. This is just another, like, we could have watched and recorded something, but we kind of just wanted to, like, chat.
This was also, like, heavily requested by the Discord.
Yes.
That they wanted us to do just the 90s. Because we talked about the 90s so much in Dick Tracy. And at some point, someone just asked, like, is this just what the 90s was? And we were kind of like, sort of. Let us explain. Let us explain into a microphone.
It is too much. Let me sum up.
Yes.
What was the thing that they were talking about? Is this just what the 90s were like?
I feel like it may have stemmed from Dick Tracy, but I also think it may have been like a music video.
It was something about... It was a music video. It was Tonight Tonight by the Smashing Pumpkins.
Yes.
Because, and I like...
Oh yeah, you went on a long tirade.
Yeah, because I Kool-Aid Man, and I was like, actually, it's from A Trip to the Moon.
Yeah.
Which is like a turn-of-the-century, very early film.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just very fun to be like, wah! But it started there, and then we ended up wanting to go back to it, because after we were done recording, we were like, look at all the stuff we wanted to talk about and didn't.
And now it's time to talk about Lacey Shadows.
I loved this episode.
Modifiers was great. What a good time.
I genuinely had a lot of fun with this one.
Yeah, a lot of fun things to talk about with this. Modifiers, very cool show. A lot of good bits. Like, yeah, Modifiers. Thumbs up. Wish there was more of that.
And this was another really fun research one for me. Because, again, this was another one where I could really... Because we found the pitch book. And it was so pleasant to find the pitch book for this.
Yeah.
And be able to, like, really dig in and talk about what the show could have been, should have been, would have been. And that was a very nice feeling.
27 is a nightmare episode for me.
What happened?
Something goes wrong with the Gumball Rally episode. And
right, because this was a double record.
Yes. And not only does something go wrong, I don't realize it goes wrong until, like, the episode's supposed to go up.
Oof.
Because if I recall correctly, I watch Mantelope and record Mantelope immediately afterwards, and then I think it goes up unedited.
Ooh.
Like, I don't think there's any clips. I think there's just a moment where there's a problem and I cut out, like, a moment of silence. But, yeah, this is a bad episode.
Oh, no.
This is how frantic I am. It says, Noah messed up. Everyone point and laugh at Noah at her scramble to make a podcast on Manterlope, which I spell wrong in the description.
Oh my gosh.
And I remember it going up and the Discord going, what was that?
Oh no.
Because I think Mantelope is like 4 minutes. Like, I think the pilot itself is only 4 minutes. So I have nothing to say. And, like, it's like a weird flash animation. Like, it's one of those things where it's very clearly a still picture, but the camera moves because there's no animation in it.
Ooh.
Like, oh, it's a nightmare. And I believe the entire thing is me yelling, this isn't a show. And then at the end, like, realizing it was something that was going to air on Nickelodeon. Like, in the end, I was like, no, this actually was something.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, yeah. It's a nightmare to watch. It was a nightmare to record. It's a nightmare to listen to. And what I find very interesting is it is a very poorly received episode. It gets very few downloads. I don't know why. I don't know what tipped people off to just skip the episode. Maybe it's because the length is shorter.
I mean, the copy is Noah messed up, everyone point and laugh.
This is true, but it never says that it's a Stay Doomed Live. It never mentions that you're not there. It is a Stay Doomed numbered episode. So, like, there's no... Despite the fact that the description is manic and full of misspellings. There's none of the trappings to show that this is a skippable episode, and people skip it without listening.
I'm sorry.
I'm not asking. This is my mistake.
I know. I feel bad. I'm like
I'm 90% sure we have a recorded Gumball episode that just for some reason doesn't work.
Yeah, I remember that one not working. The next episode is Gumball Rally.
Yes.
And that was a fun one to do because we could really lean into all the different pieces of it. Whether the show worked, whether the concept worked, what went wrong. That one was a fun one to do.
Yeah, we hadn't done a backdoor pilot in a while. And I like doing a good backdoor pilot every now and again. I also found out that this is the third time trying to remaster the original versions of Jackass to go up on archive.org.
Oh, wow.
Because you can tell because it says the third edition.
Yeah.
But you and I recently rewatched all of Jackass on Paramount Plus.
Yes.
And it's butchered.
There's a lot of stuff missing.
Apparently you can watch the original versions of all the episodes on archive.org.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, something to consider. That leads us to Combination Lock.
I don't like doing game shows.
I always want to do game shows.
I know.
Because I like talking about gameplay and stuff like that. It really only works when it's a reality show.
I genuinely can't think of a game show outside of You're in the Picture because of the format breaking that I felt good about as an episode.
I think the really early ones, I think You Don't Know Jack worked.
Yes.
I think...
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, I think Trashed worked because we didn't watch all of Trashed. I think Chamber Chair worked because we did 2 different shows because there was enough content to cover it. But yeah, it's tough doing the game shows. They're an easy thing to fall back on just because I know Wink Martindale keeps posting pilots, so I know that they're there and easy to access. So that's what I always fall back on when we don't know what to do.
Yeah, I just... They're tough episodes because they're... For what I do, which is the research and the play-by-play, they're terrible.
Yeah, there's not a lot to say here. But we then countered that with Transylvania Rising, which was great.
Oh, I loved this. This was one of those shows that I was genuinely disappointed didn't have more.
Oh, yeah. This is where we start making Riverdale references again, which we hadn't done in a while.
Right before Eye Patch Wolf puts out... Super Eye Patch Wolf put out his video on Riverdale.
Yeah, his second video on Riverdale.
Which, there was a point that he makes where he sounds like me.
Oh, yeah.
To the point where when we watch this video, you do the slow head tilt where you look at me like...
It's you.
And I was like, it's me! When he talks about pro wrestling being like Riverdale. And I'm like, I've been making that point for years! I'm pretty sure if you look, I make it at some point in this podcast. I'm not digging through 227 episodes of Riverdale jokes for that, but we do.
And that will bring us to the hiatus.
Yeah, and then you post the questionnaire that we usually go over.
Yes, let me pull that up. We do have to talk about the old Stay Doomed questionnaire. So I always ask what your favorite type of episode is and what your least favorite type of episodes are. When it comes to favorites, reality show takes it by miles. Second place is a tie between hour-long dramas and lost media. I always am surprised at how...
What was top? I'm sorry. There was a car that revved outside right as you spoke.
Reality show.
Yes.
Reality show takes it by miles, and then a tie between lost media and hour-long drama. Lost media is anti-format.
Yes.
But I do really like doing those.
I love doing reality shows.
Yes, I love doing reality shows too, but they're always so long. It's hard to find a good condensed one.
And it's also hard because some reality shows, there's not enough content. It'll be a 13-hour watch, that only really makes one episode of Stay Doomed.
That's always a bummer.
And that becomes a very difficult...
Yeah, there's still a bunch of reality shows that are on the list. I really want to do Unanimous still.
Yeah.
We're still constantly looking for Who's Your Daddy.
Yes, that's one we've wanted to find for a very long time.
And then there's like a weird one that's like, Dude, I'm Not Gay. That like is problematic and thus ripe for the picking.
Because there's one we've talked about doing called There's Something About Miriam.
Yes, that's another one.
Which is another one that's a problematic early 2000s reality show. That would be a very interesting topic for us to cover.
Yes. In terms of least favorite, sports takes that one, which is something I always include, because we always play around with the idea of doing the XFL.
Yeah.
But sports always wins least popular, and we've never done the sports episode. It's just funny to me that everyone's like, no, don't.
We've done some wrestling ones that...
Wrestling's a separate category.
Oh, my bad.
Wrestling like has votes for favorite and least favorite.
That's fair.
Surprisingly, a lot of people don't like the Backdoor Pilots, though other people say that the Backdoor Pilots are their favorite. A lot of like conflicting data there. The big thing is don't do sports.
That's fair.
And do reality shows.
Good news. I don't really like sports.
Yeah. Though it's interesting, hour-long drama has 0 votes for least favorite. There are some people that don't like the lost media. So, like...
Huh.
Another question I asked is, what do you want to happen when Laura can't make an episode? Would you want no episode, a Noah solo episode, or a Stay Doomed live, where Noah appears alone on screen? Overwhelming no episode.
Oh my gosh, guys, I'm so sorry.
I mean, that takes a lot of pressure off of me, because like I always believed like we have the Patreon, something must go up. And now I know for sure that I was truly talking to myself. Nobody was watching those episodes.
Yeah, this is not a video podcast, so you can't see that I fully turtled into my turtleneck just then. Yeah. One that's incredibly sweet, like, in a purely egotistical way. I'm like, aww. It does make me feel terrible about the fact that I could not handle the month of May. Yeah. Like, there are also, mental health concerns in play that flared up badly in May. And that's more in check now than it was. I am doing my best. I am actively working on the book. Yes. I'm about 1/4 of the way through what I am planning to write. The problem is what I am planning to write is a perpetually moving target. And I am currently reading a book called Cue the Sun, which is a history of reality TV shows that will probably be widely cited in... because I am trying to do this properly with citations, and all of that does take a lot of time. But I'm about 1/4 of what I plan to write. That being said, every time we do an episode, I am looking at, like, does this fit in anywhere? Does this fit in with a chapter I've already written? Somebody figure out where to put Fish Police. There is a chapter, you guessed it, my friends, on talking dogs. So I am actively working on it. I'm really enjoying working on it.
I also asked, what promised episode are you most hyped for?
Yes, because I would really like to deliver on one of these promises.
The Cape, The Quest Season 2, Cop Rock Redux, or 13 Fear is Real. It is almost perfectly split. Okay. So we could justifiably do any of them. Okay. The technical winners are a tie between The Cape and 13 Fear is Real.
If I get to be the tiebreaker, I actually would go 13 Fear is Real.
I would go The Cape!
Oh no!
Oh no! We started The Cape and it was so good because it was so bad.
Some of my favorite episodes though are Who Done It. Oh my gosh, the one Sunrise, Maine. Oh.
Oh, Murder in a Small Town
Murder in a
X.
Small Town X, Killer Camp. And that's actually, I hate to say it, my favorite chapter of the book thus far.
All right.
Is connecting all of those things. And I do actually have a few sentences on 13 Fear is Real based on research I was doing while writing.
All right, we're flipping a coin. It's on its side. It landed on its side. Oh. All right. If it's for the book, 13 Fear is Real makes sense.
I mean, I think what I would say is we should do 13 Fear is Real. Mm-hmm. Then probably probably do a couple of pilot-y.
Yeah, I know we talked about doing .comedy soon. Maybe we should do .comedy first.
Yes, and then that'll give us a little bit of time, because .comedy's a one-episode wonder. We have found recently an uploader on YouTube has uploaded an absolute trove.
Yes, so we've been going through that. We've been getting hyped for season 7.
And bless this user, because they'll put the entire series as one video, as just one long video, and I deeply love that. So I think there's some things to be really excited about.
Yes. I asked if people watch the +2 horror short. Overwhelmingly no.
I will say, as someone who doesn't like horror...
The most common answer is no, too scary. So that's understandable.
Friends, as someone who has noped out of whole episodes because they're gory, the +2 horrors, for the most part, are fun scary, not gonna ruin your day scary. I do recommend installing Alan.
Yeah, it's the latest one's really fun. I was really happy.
And unboxing.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite one that you've done.
And then finally, I asked, and this is the first time I had just like completely open-ended, like just write what you think.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on the podcast releasing an episode every 2 weeks?
Okay.
And everyone's fine with it.
Okay.
That would be fine. I realize they're hard to make. If you can make it, I understand. I feel like for multi-parters, you can make it long enough for 2 parts. Could be 1 part. If it's possible to work out. Quality over quantity. That said a lot. If it's possible, do it. Make it longer. Things like that. So we have a very understanding fan base, is what I'm seeing, that hates when I just rush an episode out alone.
So this is something we've talked about off mic, and something... When I'm disillusioned with this project is when I feel like we are churning out content to serve content for the content god.
Yes.
Like Daddy made you some content. I like Stay Doomed when it feels like we're doing a show.
Yes.
I hate Stay Doomed when it feels like content.
Mm-hmm.
And season 6, more than any other season, felt like times we were making content.
Yeah.
And that's not even saying the format breakers, because I don't feel like Deadpool and Wolverine was content.
No, I felt like that was the most Stay Doomed movie we had ever watched.
I didn't feel like the Las Vegas episodes were content.
No.
I actually, when we do the traveling, I do find them fun because we have a certain je ne sais pas of things that I find interesting and notice, and those are what we talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not really what I mean when I'm saying, like, they feel like content. Sometimes when I feel like we're rushing something out just to get something, that's when I'm like, we're making content. I hate it.
Yeah, I absolutely understand that. There was definitely time that we were just churning stuff out. Like, as part of some of my other jobs, because I have multiple.
Yes.
The YouTube algorithm is part of it. And, like, a big thing with pleasing the algorithm is, like, consistency.
Yeah.
So, like, I know that we as a show will be penalized if we do not upload on a schedule. That being said, like, I think we have the fan base we have. The fan base that we have likes us. Let's cater to them instead of the algorithm.
Yes.
Because we posted an episode on YouTube recently. And the thing about posting on YouTube is that's not a fair assessment of how many people listen to the episode. Because there's people listening on other platforms. Like, if you listen to it on basically any other platform than YouTube, it goes into the same bucket of views.
Okay.
So that's kind of like how I, like, delineate how we're doing on terms of episodes and stuff like that. And we posted something recently, and this person I don't think was trying to be, like, crappy or anything. They just simply said, wow, these two have been doing this for 6 years with so little views. I guess it's just love of the game.
Yeah.
And I said something like, we have a love-hate relationship with the game.
Yes.
But, like, truth be told, we've been doing this a while. Like, maybe, like, trying to do it the right way so that it will catch fire is not what Stay Doom's about. Maybe we are just a little niche for a little niche of people who come and talk to us in our Discord. And that's fine. That eventually will lead to a book.
Yes, I mean, this is very much, you love the show, I hate this show, but we are very much 9 people's favorite thing. Not 100 people's 9th favorite thing.
Yeah.
From title of show.
I love that show. You hate the show.
That's what I just said.
I thought you, I heard it.
No, I hate the show. But I love the, because I think of episodes where I genuinely love this show so much, and like Push Nevada.
Push Nevada is our best episode.
Where I was like, I love this project, I love this show. I had that feeling with, don't mock me, Fish Police.
Yeah.
Fish Police was a show where I was like, yeah, I love this show. Super Pup was one where I love this show. Deadpool. Really, we did have a great run over the summer, even though they're the difficult episodes with the generator noise. Mm-hmm. Of a lot of these shows are really genuinely shows we loved doing. And I'm excited to get back to that. I'm looking at the proof of concept that I made all those years ago. There's a lot of stuff still here. Mm-hmm. A lot of stuff we haven't done yet that I want to do.
Yeah, there's stuff we can't find.
Yes, well,
but there's still some stuff that I know is out there that we just need to sit down and like really enjoy.
Yeah.
Is there anything in particular you want to bring up? Because I have some comments that I wanted to read.
There just some of these shows that I'm like, I definitely want to do. Like, even ones, this is going to be a strange pull, but we still haven't done My So-Called Life, which is a big one to never have done.
Undeclared.
Pelswick, which is the only Nicktoon, or the first Nicktoon to not get a second season.
Oh, yeah.
There are a couple, but the Pelswick was the first. Mockingbird Lane, I do feel like, has been treaded by Hats Off.
Yeah, so they recently put that one.
I'm not as interested in that one because someone already did that who I really respect. Homeboys in Outer Space.
Oh, yeah, jeez.
And then one that is a format breaker, but I desperately want to do, and I think, please let me know, Grave Robbers, if I'm incorrect in this, but I think the company would indulge doing the first true Double Doomed. Muppets Tonight.
Yeah.
As I lead up to it, Noah's just rolling his eyes going, she's going to say Muppets Tonight.
We still have to do Electric Mayhem.
Yes, we do. I was putting that off because I was desperately hoping that it would come back.
Yeah, that's what we did with Julie and the Holograms, but that's not going back.
Not Julie and the Phantoms.
Julie and the Phantoms. That's Gem and the Holograms.
Yes.
Julie and the Phantoms. So we'll end with some comments from our Discord.
Okay.
Thank you for doing Turn On episode 3. You're welcome. That was our 200th episode. We needed that reassurance that we made the right decision there. When will we get Cop Rock's Redux? Didn't win the poll. We tried. Eventually. Put that in the eventually bucket. And
I want to do Cop Rock Redux for personal reasons.
Me too.
That show almost broke Stay Doomed permanently.
Yeah, it almost ended the show. It really what it did was fix Stay Doomed because that's when we were like, let's do 2-parters.
It proved I was right irrevocably about that one.
Really enjoyed this season. Loved the travel episodes and the variety show this season. Still hoping to see Cop Rock Redux. Well, then you guys didn't vote hard enough. Was there any show this season that you felt was a real gem you uncovered? Dick Tracy.
Super Pup.
Super Pup's so weird, but
I know, I loved it.
Dick Tracy, like the idea of like what makes Dick Tracy cool. He's a chemist. Is so weird.
I think the other one would be my other favorite was Phenomenon this season.
Phenomenon,
because we hadn't gotten to do a show like that, and I really did enjoy Phenomenon.
Yeah, I would say Phenomenon or Fish Police are our best episodes. The best thing we watched would probably be Dick Tracy, or I don't want to say Super Pup.
Best thing we watched was Transylvania Rising.
But Transylvania Rising, yeah.
Transylvania Rising is the only show where I was like, I'd watch another one of these, like...
immediately.
I would watch this if I wasn't trying to cover it for Stay Doomed. Mm-hmm. I would watch this because I enjoyed it.
Yeah. There's been a few things where I was like, I think not only is this a Stay Tuned.
Oh, and the Modifiers. I would watch.
Oh, Modifiers, of course.
Modifiers was a show I am actively disappointed it does not.
So, thank you so much for watching and listening for these past 6 years. Season 7. 6 seasons and a 7th season of Stay Doomed coming to you soon. We are probably going to do 13 Fear is Real. I really hoped that the poll would be overwhelming towards one thing and be like, oh, we just do that. But Laura usually wins when we're in these situations. But we'll probably do Dot Comedy and maybe another pilot first.
Yeah, I think we're going to do a couple of short things to like build up some time. We also... unlike every other show conceivable, the weeks of the holidays, of like the winter holidays, I have so much time.
Yeah.
In comparison. Because if you look past, that's when we did Terra Nova.
Yes.
Because that's when I actually had time.
Maybe Laura will do a solo episode and it'll be the best episode statistically
on
the show.
That being said, I'm now looking through, like, what would I do if I did a solo episode?
There's also the talk that we've had for a while of driving to Virginia so we can watch The Day the Clown Cried. So that's a special episode that we are greatly considering. From what I understand, it is unedited footage. So It's going to be very difficult to do an episode on it. But I really want to do it because I like Jerry Lewis. Where can people find us, Laura?
You can still email us at thestaydoomedshow@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter at Stay Doomed, but I'm not great at looking at those. The best place to find us now would be Blue Sky. We're Stay Doomed at Blue Sky.
Yeah. Give Twitter a Stay Doomed. Because if you want to talk to me about Jerry Lewis movies, I'm TV's Noah on Blue Sky and Instagram.
If you have some ideas on what a Laura Prince episolo looks like, respond to me at Laura Crane on Blue Sky or Glitter and Glow Tape on Instagram.
Yeah, don't loop me in. It's the Laura thing.
Until next time, thank you, and stay doomed.